The alliance is taking shape and the invasion is heating up. I'm John Renton with the Retro Review of WWE Smackdown from July 12, 2001, continuing this trek through the entire invasion angle until at least the Raw after Survivor Series 2001. Maybe I'll review the last few weeks of television until the end of that year, but as Great Coolio once said, I will see when I get there. I think I got the title right. Actually, I kid. I like Coolio's songs, but enough about a white guy talking about rap. This episode was kind of memorable because they continued to have the alliance be like, this somewhat decent invading force at this point before Vince McMahon put all of his guys in the goddamn group because he realized, shit, I only signed the B team, go, go, go. I didn't sign any of the big ones because I lost so much money on the XFL. I didn't want to pay more money out of pocket. But anyway, Birmingham, Alabama is the place. It's the place to be on this particular night. And they recaps of the alliance being formed, Stephanie being named the Queen of Extreme. There are jokes there that I will not say, but you can say in the comments. So Taker's in Vince's office. Taker wanted something from Vince. Vince said, I gave you what you wanted. DDP and Shane in the ring after DDP and Shane screwed over Taker on Monday. He says, now be on Team WWF. And Taker agreed, but says, you screw me over, WCW will be the least of your problems. JR and Cole on commentary because Taz defected to ECW. I mean, the whole alliance thing that became just a bunch of people, humans had to be together, and it was just ridiculous. So Shane and the alliance show up. The WCW side, Shane hypes up, the fact that, we shocked the world on Monday. And then ECW, they come down led by Stephanie, but Heyman's also there, and he says, well, Vince took ECW's ideas, talents, and all that stuff and concepts to win the Monday Night Wars, so I took his children. Okay, but Heyman's really good at promos, and this was one of his better ones, even though it's like hidden in this episode that has some good stuff, but also is taking place during the invasion angle. There was horrible misfire after horrible misfire after horrible missed opportunity. So Heyman, he was the mole. He was the mole, not Todd Gordon. No, he was the mole here. Bill Alfonso didn't even need to cut himself to, horribly in a match against Beulah McGillicuddy to save his goddamn job. That was a brutal match. So Heyman does his promo. Stephanie says, Vince, it's like, Dad, you don't understand why we did what we did and how we could do it. We know how you work. We came from your loins. Gross. And then says, well, children generally outlive their parents. Not always when it comes to wrestling. Chris made sure of that with Daniel. Anyway, I'm going to hell for that one. Stephanie basically was like, we couldn't wait for you to die, Dad. We couldn't wait for it's just so hilarious, so freaking ridiculous. And then this took a while, and then Regal's talking to Tajiri, and Tajiri wants to be on commentary. Regal says, well, you stuck with WWF, so yes, you can be, and I know it's WWE, but this sweet shirt, by the way, my sister painted this, looking at the logo, and I'm really happy to have this. It's one of my most treasured possessions. So, basically, Tajiri wants to be on commentary, and Regal says, sure, why not? Tajiri knew more English than he let on at this point, I'm sure. Austin has a way to solve Vince's problems. What is going on here? But we cut back to Tajiri joining commentary. 22 minutes into the show, we have our first match. Hardcore Holly versus Taz. It was more about Tajiri's comedy and the fact that Taz kept staring at Cole. He got blindsided, even though Hardcore Holly's music is playing. But Taz basically beat Hardcore after a mistake in about 3 minutes. Did I just hear myself say, oh, wait, that's later, next year or the following year. Then he chokes out Tajiri, and then Austin has a guitar. Violence is not what we need right now. It says, it's chicken soup for the soul. Stone Cold is here to inspire you. Can you feel it? And then he's Kumbaya, and he's singing all that and everything, which I wrote down as Kumbaya because, of course I did, because I'm mature. And that's pretty much it right there. He just kept playing the guitar badly. And then Lance Storm came out and did a promo. If I can be serious for a man, I am no cartoon character. I'm a wrestler. Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I love Lance. I love Lance. He should have been used a whole lot better in WWE. Jericho shows up and says, you're not a cartoon character. You're more like a movie character, like Forrest Gump. Good job. They wrestled and they were each other's first opponent. And they've been friends and are still friends. And I'm sure this was a thrill after so many years of, being up and down the road together and the various companies they worked for, wrestling on WWE television. I bet this was a thrill for them. And it wasn't bad. Jericho with a hot start. Lance gloms him and beats him down for a bit. Jericho fires back. And eventually Walls of Jericho taps out Lance Storm. So it wasn't great, but it was a short TV match that had some good action. So then we have more guitar playing. Angle says, well, he was in the Glee Club in high school and he can play the guitar. And Austin's like, no, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. And then he's trying to sing Jimmy Crack Corn, I don't care. Jimmy Crack Corn, I don't care. Jimmy Crack Corn, I don't care. I got Olympic gold. I got Olympic. Vince leaves. And then he's like, and Austin's like, Kurt. You're trying to cheer Vince up. Where is he? You're pathetic. You can't even do anything right. And he's like, well, I wasn't any worse than you. He's like, I spent a lot of money on guitar lessons. Deborah, tell him how great I am. Austin raising his fist towards Deborah. And on camera. I mean, he didn't do what he did. Anyway, you know. So, yeah, that was that was really good stuff. That's something that still sticks out. Austin and Angle's comedy was just great at this point. So, the Jared from Subway ad. That's aged well. Fucking piece of shit. I hope he's having the worst time in prison. Pieces of shit like that don't deserve to see the goddamn light of day as far as I'm concerned. Trish and Jeff are awkward together is what I wrote down. Leah says, well, I don't trust you, Trish, but we have to team up against Stacy and Tori and let's settle our differences in the ring. Trish was like, okay. All right. So Mike Awesome asks for new gear. He wants Awesome written down one side and Awesome written down another side. Pretty simple. Edge and Christian are laughing at him. This ties into something later. Vince is then with Team WWF, EF, Jericho, Kane, Taker, Austin, and Angle. This is the most serious threat we've ever faced. Not the steroid trial, not the fact they lost Hogan, they lost so many others, and that Vince, kind of didn't want to give out the guaranteed contracts to the right people and lost a lot of people for a while. It wasn't WCW pounding them into the dirt in the 90s. No, it's this. It's the NWO, the WCW ECW B team. No offense against the guys, but that's how they were presented. Austin repeats what Vince said. Taker is not amused. Jericho at one point looked like he was about to crack up because of comedy between Angle and Austin with the guitar. Vince wants unity, not Assassin's Creed unity, thankfully. So Vince basically comes out to the ring here, introduces Austin, and he says, well, they say you change. You have become more selfish, more vicious, more of a brown-noser. I feel you changed for the better. But I don't need the Austin that gives me hugs. I need the beer-swilling, foul-mouthed Texas redneck. I need the old Stone Cold. And that ties into the following Raw, which I'm looking forward to reviewing that one, because that fucking pop for Austin, I think it broke some of the windows in the arena, because it was loud. And the crowd blew when he said the old Stone Cold. And Vince fires him up and says, I need you to be that. I want you to beat me up. If you want to see Vince McMahon get beat up by Stone Cold Steve Austin, give me a hell yeah. And Austin refuses and leaves. He says, Steve, come back. Give me a stunner, damn it. He pauses and then leaves. And then Austin and Deborah are shown leaving. Vince says he's going after them. Angle's just like, well, what about my match? He's like, I'm sure you'll do fine. I need Austin on this team. Angle says, I could be the leader. And he's like, I'm going to go find Austin. Man, just shitty all over Angle right there. Kane versus Rhino, power battle, and we get some ref bumps. Nick Patrick runs in for a fast count on the most devastating maneuver in all professional wrestling. Surprise roll up 1, 2, 3. So there you go. And then Regal says Tajiri will face Taz at Invasion. I'm looking forward to retro reviewing that. So anyway, then Earl comes in and Regal says, aren't you the senior official? Go challenge Nick Patrick for a match at Invasion. What? Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Take some guys with you, by the way. Lita and Trish, they would go on to have better matches. Lita would win with a moonsault in about 3 minutes. And then Stacy and Tori are greeting Matt and Jeff backstage, and Lita's upset. Trish was, I believe, face down and not aware of anything going on. Steph, Shane, and DDP are talking and looking over the footage where DDP put Sarah in her place with a diamond cutter. His words, and Stephanie's right there. If only Stephanie had taken the diamond cutter. So anyway, we get a refereedom. Every referee fighting. Every single referee in history just fighting. And there's one thing and the camera cuts out. Mike Awesome versus Jeff Hardy. Hardcore title match. Mike Awesome won the Hardcore Championship in the hallowed halls of Madison Square Garden. And his title reign came to an end here because we had Broom versus Ladder at one point. And Ladder wins every time. And then Jeff falls off the ladder. And then Mike Awesome misses a splash. And Edge and Christian come down, and because apparently they didn't like Mike Awesome's choices of gear, hit him with a concerto. Edge watches guys that, a guy that he feuded with just a few months prior, Swanton 1, 2, 3, Jeff's new hardcore champion, would lose it to RVD at Invasion. So Angle and Taker talking. and with Kane and Jericho there, and Angle's like, I could be the leader, and then Taker just looks at him when he tries to give out orders. He's like, fine, you could be the leader tonight. Angle and Taker versus DDP and Shane. Well, DDP hung back for a bit because he didn't want to get in the ring with the guy whose wife he laid out. Then eventually, DDP got in after some hitting and running, and then Taker eventually got his hands on DDP, beating him up. Alliance runs out. Some of them, and they get fought off, but we get a DQ, and then we get more people coming down, and Taker dies on everybody, barely. They really had to catch him because the camera cut away because it looked like Taker was going to hit head first like he did in Mania 25. And then Kane and Jericho come down, but the numbers are just too great. The crowd boos. We get a mauling. We got to get Stone Cold back, and Stephanie shows up acting like she did anything here or has ever done anything, and Heyman's there, and we go to black. So there you go. That's it right there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.